Hey everybody, welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
I'm Matt Belknap from Never Not Funny, a podcast.
I'm Garon Cockrell from the internet. Also from Never Not Funny. Just look for my name is Garon. That's me.
That is, your name is Garon, and here you are.
In my own merch.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, snap.
Mm.
Smart.
I just read Salem's Lot for the first time, like 2 months ago, because I was like, what are the good vampire books that between Dracula and like Interview with the Vampire? Like, where did this mythology come from? How did it evolve? And people are just like, what about Salem's Lot? I was like, oh, all right, I'll read that. And I was like, oh, that was good. But then it also had, this is not a conversation about vampire books. This is not a podcast about vampire books. This is about Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about minute 138. We are 138 of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. It starts with Rey and Finn continuing their hug as began in last minute. And it ends with Luke turning to face Kylo Ren, who just bisected him, or attempted to, at least. As far as we know. He just Darth Mauled him right there.
Are there people who think that, building on the hug thing that's going on here, the general hugs that are going around, are there people who think Finn and Rey should be a romantic item?
I felt that in Force Awakens, at least. I was excited for their chemistry. I thought it was.
But I mean, like by this point in the movie, like, do you think people are like, oh, they're finally together, or are people like, boy, she clearly only likes him as a friend? You know,
I mean, didn't it seem like they were setting up a sort of love triangle with Rose, like that Rose was going to compete for Finn's affection, and then it just sort of, I don't know, that didn't
do
go
a gender
anywhere.
reverse Twilight.
Yeah.
Two ladies, or a Betty and Veronica, I guess you could say.
I am definitely among the group that think it should have been a Poe-Finn romance.
Oh yeah, Storm Pilot.
But yeah, I never saw Finn and Rey as they just had more of a Will and Grace feeling to me than anything else. Like,
I thought you were going to say brother sister, so I was a little surprised when you went to Will and Grace.
Will and Grace.
No, Will and Grace. Will and Grace.
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
It's funny because I really don't. It's funny because in the original trilogy, Luke was not like the romantic. Once Han Solo was, clearly going to be the romantic guy, and Luke was going to kind of be like the religious Jedi. So it's hard. Like even Rey, I don't really see her having like romantic chemistry with any of the other. Like I never thought her thing with Kylo Ren was romantic, but clearly a lot of other people took it that way, and that's their right. And so, but the Jedi to me always just seemed kind of like monastic. Not quite. Yeah, not vow of chastity kind of stuff, but maybe just not really into relationships. Yeah. Because they're communing with the Force all the time. You know
they're
what
not
I mean?
supposed to have attachments, right? I mean,
right.
That's under the.
It's the old Jedi laws.
Yeah.
This is Luke's new swinging Jedi now. Yeah, attachments all over town.
I like how. Yeah, didn't Lucas once say like, people were like, oh no, Jedi can't have children because they're not supposed to have attachments. He was like, you can make a baby without having attachments. Like, he was basically just like, I don't give it. Like, Jedis are pimps. Like, they can go ahead and they could bang all day and then just go back to the Force. Like, I love the idea that it was like, oh no, it's not that they don't have sex. It's just that they don't care about the people they have sex with.
They can't care about people. That's totally
cool.
Not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, although, he did let the record show that George Lucas said a lot of things. So
he sure did. Sure did.
So is there a moment? So in this moment is Kylo Ren gets like a feeling that like that's with the Force, right? Doesn't he feel like something's going on with Rey? Like when Rey's using the Force, isn't Kylo Ren like picking up on it or something?
Yeah, because his line is basically reacting to Luke has just said that everything that he said was a lie, and the implication being, and then I think that ties into he now is picking up on the force wavelength of Rey moving the rocks, and so he's reacting to that. They both do. Like I got the sense that Kylo Ren and Luke are both reacting to what they've just seen in their mind's eye, what Rey did, and so Kylo's basically answering that, like, I'll destroy her. Like, you think she's the new Jedi? Like, even if I destroy you, she'll carry on the legacy. Well, I'll destroy her too. Like, even if she can move all those rocks, I'm still going to destroy her.
Right. He says, I'll destroy her and you and all of it. And I like that all of it, because it could be interpreted in basically to mean everything in the entire universe ultimately, because all of it could mean so many things in this context. And he's clearly so full of hate that
he's just bratty. It was like, I'll destroy you and I'll destroy her and I'll destroy that. I think a couple of weeks ago I made the joke about the jury. I'll destroy that lamp. And
that line would have made a great Fall Out Boy lyric too. Like if you ever wanted to go into that line of work.
And then Luke has the very Obi-Wan line of strike me down in anger and I'll always be with you, just like your father. Cold. That's
a psychology burn right there.
Well, that was an interesting, like, that made me think that what we were going to see going forward is Luke being that kind of force ghost to Kylo. Because as this, the way that this plays out, once, spoilers at the end of the movie, Luke gains the new ability to be a force ghost. The idea going forward, exactly what he just said, that he'll always be with him. So he'd be almost like instead of Obi-Wan showing up and being like, you should do this, he'd be more of like a great gazoo to Kylo, showing up and being like, nice going, dum-dum, like, you're not a Darth Vader, and be like, no, shut up, no. And
that'll turn him to the good side of the Force.
Yeah, exactly.
Just nagging him to death.
Yeah.
I've always thought that with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, actually, that after Obi-Wan was killed, that he would constantly show up like in Anakin's dreams and like just to kind of mess with him.
He just pops up. Yeah, anytime Darth Vader gets anything wrong, it's like, well, you screwed that one up. And then float away again.
Hello there. Oh, you again.
I have something that I never really thought much about, but it's an important question suddenly. Can everyone see Force ghosts, or did only Luke see Yoda and Anakin and Ben at the end of Jedi, or can everybody see them?
We've been trying to figure that out. I think there was some
inconclusive. I think
there's some evidence, kind of either way, essentially.
I feel like the Clone Wars, as far as the movies go, I don't think we ever see a non-Force user see a Force ghost.
Yeah,
or hear a Force ghost, I guess.
Right.
But it might have happened in the cartoons too, because they'll throw a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe we can look into it. I feel like it's something that's come up before, and we're always like, no one knows.
I'm gonna ask my own personal authority on this. My college roommate,
and this is also
Jen.
the same question we had earlier in the film, which was, did C-3PO see Luke?
Right.
When he showed up as a projection. It's a different thing than a Force.
This is a different thing. I think, the projection, because we were talking about how it's on the, they can see him on the binoculars and stuff like that. So he's definitely seems to be showing up to electronics here. But then as a Force ghost, we don't know if he can, if anybody else, if it's basically him just, popping into somebody's mind, although then they do interact with things. Like Force Ghost Yoda will interact with the storm earlier in the movie, and Force Ghost Luke will definitely have some interaction with the real world. Obi-Wan sits on a log, but
but was there also a Force log that he was sitting on that was inside that log?
It was the tree that had died that was just laying
the Force ghost of that Jedi tree.
That was covered in the comic series that ran from. So,
but I can't think of an actual Force ghost interacting with somebody who's not the person that they're intended for, the Jedi for whom they are intended.
Yes.
Like, it seems like Han Solo doesn't see Obi-Wan Kenobi appearing to Luke when he rides through his body on a Tauntaun. He may have been subconsciously guided there by the Force, but he doesn't see like, oh, I thought I saw a weird Obi-Wan Kenobi guy here.
Yeah.
R2 also can see Obi-Wan's Force, has the potential to see Obi-Wan's Force ghost on Dagobah, but does not seem to. But then again, those two have always had a kind of frosty relationship, pretending not to know each other. So it'd be like, oh, what? Oh, there was a Force ghost there? Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, did that hurt when I rolled through him? Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, R2 doesn't seem like he would be impressed by a Force ghost at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the minute where the blade goes through, right?
Yes. He runs at him and kind of like, bisects him.
Does like that sliding, a pretty cool move. It's like a sliding samurai chop.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt Luke. That seems like a big plot hole to me.
Well, we get a little bit of an oh no moment. An oh no moment. Oh no moment.
Yoko came in?
Yeah. But that, we get like, oh, like what did did he just slice Luke in half? Like we get that, is he gonna, Obi-Wan Kenobi and disappear into a cloak here? Like, is it, we get that moment of like, what did he do? And then suddenly it seems like, wait, well, how is he not, like, did he, I don't recall catching on very quickly with this in the theater. I remember being like, wait a minute, how did that happen?
I think I thought that he was just using more Jedi, like not that it was a projection as much as it was just like, that's how advanced his mastery of the Force is that he could basically just like, kind of, I don't know, bamf out of there for a split second and let the blade go by and then come back. So
like phasing, like he can kind of be like the Vision, where he can kind of make himself
exactly. That's a better Marvel analogy than Nightcrawler. Who,
yeah, I got it. I got what you were laying down there.
There you go. Yeah, I know.
Thanks, man. I know people don't want to talk about Nightcrawler because he's not in the MCU yet, but guy could bamf like a nobody's business.
He could bamf like a bamf.
Yeah.
But so I thought it was something like that, where it was a new Force. I don't, I don't recall when I realized it, but if I could see myself thinking, oh, well, that's a new Force power. That's
exactly. Like I think that's what I thought too.
Right. Which I'm glad it was and it wasn't. I'm glad that becoming, not transparent, but insubstantial, was not the new Force power. That it was. I mean, it was and it wasn't. Again, like I'm glad that it turned out this way, because I like that.
Would you
better for the future of things, at least? Otherwise, if he could just vision it, then that, like, any future Star Wars movies, it's just going to become like, oh, people can do that without even thinking about it.
Then what's the point of a lightsaber duel? Like, there's no stakes to it.
Suppose he did this, but then could physically interact with the world, but then still died at the end. Would that have changed it? If he could have an actual lightsaber fight?
Well, I mean,
he doesn't interact with the physical world, at all. And even the I was gonna say the earrings, the dice disappear that she left behind for Leia.
But they were physical to her in the moment that he handed them to her. So
but once he died, his part of his concentration was keeping those dice there, or at least planting the seed.
I remember talking about this with a friend. Like, it seems like a waste of his Force energy to make those dice stay solid for however long it needed to. It's a little unnecessary, but
they manufactured a bunch of them for Solo Star Wars Story, now available on Blu-ray and digital. So they had to work them in here so they can sell more of them.
I got them on my rearview mirror in my car.
There you go.
He needed like a Force Ghost IT guy to come in and go, oh, did you know you're running all these things in the background? You don't need all this stuff, right? Shut it down.
You're running low on RAM.
Yeah. He's like, oh, now I can interact with stuff because I can focus more on this.
If only he would have let go of those die, he would still be with us today.
Yeah,
exactly. That's that extra bit that's like, oh. It was making like, did Leia, was she even holding them still at the end? We'll see it when they fade away, but it'd be funny if he was putting all this effort into making sure that those are real, and Leia just kind of had already tossed them to go kind of like run out.
That would have been a great plot point if they wanted to. The potential to bring Luke Skywalker back is after she died, the dice are still there, and then it turned out that was like his Horcrux or whatever, and then they totally. Luke's hand is still floating around out there somewhere, so who knows?
I would have been all for it, man. I think like once Carrie Fisher died, I think they should have. That's like, okay, wait a minute. Like, if she can't really be in this movie, maybe we do need to bring Luke back somehow. Like, this is like somebody needs to be representing the old school here.
They should just have Luke somehow Luke has returned. Like, don't ever explain it. Just have him out there.
The opening crawl said it. The dead speak.
Yeah, I totally picture that now. Like Luke, then the climax of the Rise of Skywalker. It's like, oh no, how are our heroes going to win now? And Luke just kind of like comes out of the door that says like, like regeneration room or something like that. And it's like, guess what I found? And he ignites his green lightsaber and starts going to town.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have for 138.
I said, oh no moment. Oh, maybe this is where I had written close up Luke faces, because we do get that, his like concentrating his eyes. Like that's it's good. Again, another shout out to Steve Yedlin, which the cinematographer on this film, which we've said his name a couple of times, but I don't think he's gotten his due.
Cinematographers are probably very overlooked. How many cinematographers can you name? Like one?
Steve Yedlin.
Janusz Kaminski comes to mind.
Is that what the Kaminsky method's about?
Yeah. That's why it keeps getting nominated for Emmys, because
the cinematographers are all
Cinematography Guild is really on top of it. You got Michael Ballhaus. Don't forget Michael Ballhaus.
Who's the guy that does? Roger Deakins. That's the other.
That was the only one I was going to say that I could name.
Yeah, but I'm sure there are other. Gilbert Taylor, who did Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and also Doctor Strangelove, I think, stuff like that. So he's.
Oh, wait a minute.
I think Bob Richardson.
Right now, everyone's yelling at us. I can hear the names of 1,000 unknown cinematographers being hurled our way.
Yes, exactly. Yes, the one that you just mentioned, person shouting at their iPhone.
Yeah.
We forgot about him. Yes.
You know who was a cinematographer before he was a director? I can think of a couple, but one is Jan de Bont. Jan de Bont shot Die Hard before he became a director, and then made Speed, which was Die Hard on a bus.
Yeah.
I think that's true about Die Hard, but he definitely was a cinematographer before he directed stuff. And then he did Twister, which, go down in history.
In Twister.
The greatest movie ever made.
I'm checking that out in our early life and career, but yeah. Yes, he was the director of photography on the critically acclaimed action film Die Hard.
Never seen
Black Rain.
Never seen
it. Oh, yeah, with Michael Douglas and the Yakuza.
Yeah. But it's a whole different story about. I got in trouble for trying to watch Black Rain at a friend's house once, I think.
Because it was rated R.
Yeah, it was like they thought we were like, his parents thought that we were sneakily trying to watch the Playboy Channel or something. Which somebody may have been. Like, there was a bunch of us there, and I think somebody was watching it, and it was like, oh no, his parents are coming, switch it back. So we switched it back to whatever movie channel we thought we would be safe, and it was Black Rain, and it was like a scene with like naked ladies or something on that channel. And it was like, no! And then his parents came in and was like, all right, you guys, go to bed. I'm like, oh.
It had to be that scene.
Yeah.
Kids today, they don't know what it's like.
No.
It's true. Yeah.
Do you guys ever, I know there's a lot of other podcasts you inspired, but did you also know that there's also a Nintendo web series called Nintendo Minute? And their slogan is Nintendo Minute is never a minute, because it's like each episode's like 20 minutes long, and it's just these two people who work at Nintendo playing video games and talking and stuff. So every time you're about to do the tag for this, I want to say Star Wars Minute. It's never just a minute.
It's true. We don't. That's usually sometimes what people think of when we try to explain the show. We're like,
right.
oh,
the show's not a minute. Yeah, we're talking about a minute.
Yeah. But
we should start another podcast where we talk about Star Wars for a minute.
Imagine how many you could record in a day.
Hear me out. Black Rain Minute.
The whole series would just be leading up to that nudie scene.
Yeah, I just want to. Can I be a guest on the minute with the boobs? Well,
That
while
you
we're
should do anyway. You should do one call where every episode is talk about the minute of boobs in every movie that from the 80s that we all watched when we were young.
Boob minute.
Just talk about that 1 minute. So,
right.
Yeah.
Zapped.
Mm.
It's a great
I
idea.
have to imagine that Mr. Skin is all over that already.
Oh, right.
That's
That's
probably
that, yeah.
true. Yeah.
Is there a Mr. Skin podcast? Who knows?
Total
You know what there are though. There are over 200, as Matt said, shows that we either partially inspired or inspired somebody who inspired them, et cetera, et cetera. Over 200 Movies by Minutes podcasts that are on they're all cataloged, all the ones that we could find are cataloged on moviesbyminutes.com. And you can go there, you can find out if somebody's covering your favorite movie. Chances are, yes. Sometimes there's more than one group of people doing the same movie.
Yes. And sometimes there's big movies that no one surprisingly has picked up yet.
Like
I
Big.
won't say what they are. But
Nobody's
like
done Big.
Oh my God.
Big Minute.
Yeah.
Great.
There's a lot of movies still out there to be done. So if you get the inkling you want to do one, check it out. See if somebody's doing it. If not, you could also go to Facebook. The Star Wars, the Movies by Minutes. What's it called? Lounge something. Oh, I have to look it up. But
I think if you just search Movies by Minutes, it'll
Movies
come
by
up.
Minutes group on Facebook. Movie Minute Makers and Listeners Movies
What
by
is
Minute
happening?
Master Group. That's what it's called. That's why I couldn't remember it. Minute Makers and Listeners Movies by Minutes Master Group. So go look for Movies by Minutes on Facebook, and you should be able to find that group. And there's a lot of people talking shop and talking about which movies they're doing, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's for fans and listeners and everything, and creators. And go do that. And we'll meet you back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.